Hey guys, and welcome to some more fully operational video content here, bringing you the Gamers Nexus regional here in the UK. This was held in Essex, down in the south of the country, just towards the beginning of June 2015, and this is round one. And on the left, playing as the light side, looks like it's Jedi, is Chris Higgins, a regional champion from, I know from 2014, certainly. I don't know how he's been doing in 2015, but certainly a great player, been playing the game for a good few years. And on the right is Jonny Olliff-Lee, playing as the Scum. So playing light side, looks like we've got May the Force be with you, the Master's Domain, and Survivors. So a lot of damage protection on those unique characters. Refreshing for being available on the defense. And Jonny on the right playing with the Findsman's Intuition, so that's Zuckuss and his capture pod. Masterful Manipulation, which is Xizor, Prince Xizor, the new Black Sun. And Attack Crash, a classic for Jawas and capture. So the new Bobber from Between the Shadows coming out straight away. And commit to take the Force. Bobber's a bit brutal actually. He's got two guns, 2 blast. He's elite, and I think he refreshes when he strikes. So he'll strike twice in most combat. So he can one shot an objective on his own, or do a boatload of damage to a unit that gets in his way. So he's a brutal unit to have to deal with in a fight. And let's see what answers Chris has. And there's Between the Shadows Yoda from the Master's Domain pod. And a Jubba Bird, which Jonny is not happy about. So the Jubba Bird can be sacrificed to remove a unit's icons, a character's icons for an engagement. So you could, if you don't want to deal with Bobber's unit damage, you can just take that away. And Yoda swinging in. Yoda gains an edge-enabled tactics for every Jedi objective that the light side player has. So it looks like Chris is running mono Jedi, so he's going to have 3 tactics here if he can win the edge battle, which is really the brutal thing to have to deal with on this version of Yoda. Some of the other versions of Yodas get a lot more unit damage. This one, a lot of tactics. Looks like it's an unopposed. Jonny letting that through, it seems. And that'll be 3 tactics on Bobber. He is elite though, so he'll be back in Eternity. Looks like Chris needs a few more focus tokens. Yep, you will do. If that Yoda is on the board, Chris, you're going to need a lot more focus tokens. He'll be swinging every turn, I would have thought. And Jubba Bird for a cheeky bit of unopposed damage there. Why not? Might as well get some value out of it whilst it's on the board and Bobber's locked down. Yoda commits to the Force there and refreshes because of May the Force be with you. And it looks like Jonny's triggered the ability on Masterful Manipulation, so you can put that objective back into the deck, draw a card to go into your hand, and he'll draw... Oh no, Attack Crash, capturing. Refresh and a new objective. Oh, lucrative contract. That's a great pull for Jonny, because that will trigger now, actually, and allow him to remove a focus token from I think it's a mercenary or a bounty hunter unit. So that Bobber's straight back in the fight. So that is a great pull. That's such one of the great reasons why Zizor in Masterful Manipulation is a great pod. Actually, you can double tap. It's a 2-resource objective, so you can spend both of them straight away, and then next turn, where it would usually be locked down, you can just bring another objective into play, and away you go. Prize possession for some more resources, and Forlom. I think this is Forlom facing off against Yoda. Couple of edge cards in both players' hands. Chris has got a lightsaber deflection there and a protection. Looks like Jonny has a twist. Oh, so protection with 2 icons. Jonny with 2 icons. So Chris gets to shield pretty much anything on his side of the... Well, anything on the board, I think it is, protection. So he can shield an objective. And should win the edge. And yeah, place a boatload of tactics everywhere he wants. Sorry about the glare. That's something we'll have to try and work around on future recordings. Sometimes unavailable. Chris drawing into a Kyle, and he's got a Shien training in his hand as well, which is a great enhancement for pretty much any of the unique Jedi characters at the moment. You can focus the enhancement to just completely ignore some damage and actually send it back your opponent's way. So it looks like Kyle's coming out, and he'll place a focus token on Bobber when he comes into play. So Chris has got free range of the board here. Kyle swinging in at Tatooine Crash, and looks like Jonny's discarding a Corrupt Official to ignore Kyle's damage. It won't ignore the unopposed, you can only ignore one or the other. So slowing Chris down a little bit, and Yoda swinging for Findsman. So Chris is doing a good job of putting a lot of tactics on those scum units, and also just trickling that damage in. Those objectives are starting to look pretty beaten up. But if Chris wants any decent defenders here, Yoda's not going to be able to defend. Kyle could, potentially, with committing to the Force. Or, actually, he will... Size Matters Not, which is a free Jedi event, to move a focus token from basically from an expensive unit to a cheaper unit. So Kyle swings again for lucrative, and then refreshes with May the Force. But you don't really like... Kyle being on the Force is a tricky one. He'll take 2 focus every time he swings in an engagement, and he's not elite, so that's painful for Kyle. But I don't know whether it'll matter. There's a lot of damage on those objectives already, so Chris has got a good head start here. And Jonny's board is still locked down. Let's see what he can do. What did he draw? Deck collector, a few more resources there, and a unit to block or do an unopposed if you need it. And Zuckus from the Finesman pod. Zuckus is a great unit. He's got one of each icon, and he has a great reaction, which says when you strike, you can look at a few cards off the top of your opponent's deck, and some shenanigans with those. So I think you can capture one and then put the others back in any order. So it really does allow you to control what units, what cards they're going to draw into. But also you can capture one as well, so if you find a great unit, a Yoda, a Luke, a Qran, you can just take that away and just deny your opponent that option. So Johnny's board's looking a lot healthier, and a Jawa as well, because why not? It's free, and it's got a tactics icon. Yeah, and Zuckus with his 3 icons, he's good on the force, and Johnny capitalizes on that. Playing Springing the Ambush there, which after you win a force struggle, you can play this event to capture, I think it's a unit committed to the force, so that was either Kyle or Yoda. Johnny opting for Yoda, not a bad call. And that's a big swing for Johnny. That's a good turn. Built his board back up and took away one of the main threats, well, probably the main threat on Chris's board. And Chris doesn't have Heroes and Legends, the Jedi set with Kyle, which means you can swap units in and out if they become focused or damaged. So Kyle is staying committed to the Force for the time being. Chris seeking Yoda there with the event. You seek Yoda. Yoda, you seek Yoda. Which version will he go for? Oh, Dow goes up by 1. Probably go for the same version if I was Chris, the one with all the tactics. Seen as Johnny's board, it's looking a bit threatening. If you can lock down 3 units with the tactics on Yoda, that's a good answer. May the Force be with you, Yoda. Also, he's a great unit. He's got 1 tactics, but he's probably a late game unit. He gets more powerful the longer the game goes on. He gets more unit damage. So with the dial at 3, 4, kind of from here on in, you probably want to consider that version of Yoda, because he'll be able to one-shot any character that Johnny puts in his way. The Nobby Spider. That's an enhancement. You can pay 1 resource to turn into a beefy unit that no one wants to deal with. It's 5 health, and it has a tactics. So Chris paying 1 resource turns the spider into a unit for now. And Zuckus and the Jawa are going to try and get in its way. That's a good block, actually. If Johnny can win this edge battle, 2 cards to 4, so it might be a big ask. But if he can, he's got 2 tactics there that he can put 1 on the spider to stop it from doing any damage, and then second one maybe on Yoda, just to keep Yoda out of the game for this turn. Johnny's put 1 in and passing. And it's a twist. So Chris is starting again. couple of cards there. Probably didn't want to use Jedi's Resolve. The Spider's not a unique Jedi, so that won't activate. And 4 to 2. So Chris does win this edge battle. So the Jawa should bounce back to Jonny's hand. Yep, there he goes. And 2 damage from the Spider kills Zuckus. And a tactics on Bobber. So Bobber, a big threat for Chris. He doesn't want to see Bobber come back into play, keeping him locked down. Kyle running in on Tatooine Crash, putting 2 more damage on it. But there we see the 2 focus from being committed. So Kyle is not going to be back next turn unless Chris can find a way. Well, here's the killer. Here's Yoda swinging with his 3 tactics. This again will keep Jonny's board locked down for a long time. And then Chris will commit Yoda, which of course with May the Force be with you will free him right up to win the Force struggle and be ready on the defense. So that Yoda is a brutal unit to have to deal with once the train gets rolling. Another capture from Tatooine Crash. And no disintegrations is the replacement objective for Jonny, which not only is an objective that stops your opponent, I think, protecting unit damage from your mercenaries and bounty hunters, it's also a great podcast here in the UK that you should check out. Link will be in the description. But Jonny on the right is actually one of the regular hosts on No Disintegrations. So if you want to hear more from him and from me, go check it out. And there is a good answer, actually, to all those tactics. A better offer. That event allows you to, I think, pay 1 and bring a unit back to your hand. So if he's locked down or damaged and about to die, you can pop Bobber back into your hand and you can play him again. And there's that Jawa. And a Black Sun Headhunter. There's a lot of objective damage building up on Jonny's side of the board now. The Black Sun Headhunter costs you a few resources every turn, but it's a good unit. Healthy, he's got 4 health. And Bobber's back and available now, so this could put some damage on Chris's side of the board. Shadows of the Empire. So Jonny can pick one of the objectives, one of Chris's objectives, and just put it to the bottom of his deck, and that's a great choice. May the Force be with you. There's 2 units committed now, so it's done most of its work. But the survivors, Chris's top objective there, that's cancelling 1 damage each turn that you want to do to some units. So having that go bye is a good thing. Jonny's probably quite happy now. Yoda's not quite as safe as he once was. But Jonny not swinging. And Chris's new objective is the survivors, which must be a second copy. Yeah, he's shown us there. There's 1 on the bottom and there was 1 on the top. That is a little thing we call Sod's Law. The thing you don't want to show up shows up. Chris playing Ran's Guidance for free, which look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and then you can pick a Jedi unit and shove him in your hand. But It doesn't look like he's drawn any. So now he just gets to reorder those 5 and put them back. So at least he knows what he's going to be drawing into in future and can prepare for that. Now let's see what he's got left. He's got a Q-Ran, which is never a bad unit. Protect, especially with survivors out. And a few nice enhancements there. Yoda's Hut will help him keep the force. And a few resources as well. And Q-Ran comes into the fray. And looks like Chris keeping a few resources back or a few cards back for the edge battles. And he's got May the Force be with you open as well. So he's double tapped. He's used 2 resources from Master's Domain. I've got to think that that's to activate the spider. He's got nothing in his hand that costs 1, so hopefully Chris has got some shenanigans in mind with that spider. Either that or he's just keeping Jonny on his toes. I think Chris just paid the 1 for the spider to become a unit. So, I don't know. Okay. I don't know if Chris is doing the point of damage for holding the force at the start of his turn. Interesting one there. It's not a forced, it's not a framework ability, which means it doesn't have to happen. So technically, if you do forget to do the damage with the balance of the force, you've missed your window. The dark side, they do have to tick the dial up twice, but the light side damage is not mandatory. So just some good sportsmanship there from Jonny, letting Chris take that objective. I think Chris, equally good sportsmanship, said the card that will come out of the back of it, I'll just discard, and it happens to be a Yoda. And looks like Chris goes in, wins an edge battle and strikes just for the 1 point of damage he needs on Tatooine Crash. And that seals the game. So Jedi doing what they do best, willing at the dial at 5, just shows you they don't need that long to build a decent board and put the damage straight away on the dark side and keep them on the back foot. So round 1, game 1 goes to Chris. These players will now switch sides. Jonny will play as light side with Chris switching to dark side, and game 2 should follow shortly. So keep your eyes peeled, guys. Thanks for watching.